that excitement and spark back in your relationship. We have an amazing show for you today. It's a Get Real show. So we have this like synthesizer that makes the person all the skies. So stay tuned. We've got Abigail in the house with us today. We are going to tell you how to get that spark back in your relationship. Stay tuned. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Abigail's story. Abigail, she said she wants that spark back in her marriage. I said, what's the problem now? She said their conversations are very boring. There's not very much excitement. The spark is gone. The freshness is gone. A typical day. She said we get bored with each other. It's just boring. Work is the same. People are the same. Everything is the same. Leah, I want more spark in my marriage. She said the days look the same. She gets up, she gets the kids to school, she watches the baby, she does the laundry, she cooks the dinner, the same old every day. And she wants to bring that spark. So I said, what is the spark? What do you mean the spark? Here's what she said. She said 17 years ago, when she first got married, she was excited when he walked through the door. She was excited to see him. She was excited to cook for him. She was excited to clean for him. She even said she was excited to do the laundry. I don't know what planet she's from. She did, Sarit. I promise you that's what she said, okay? I was excited to do the laundry for him. I wanted to be there. I wanted to take care of him, whatever. She says, now the house is a disaster, Leah, and I don't care. I don't care about keeping the house. I don't want to do for him. It's like what same dinner, same everything. I just am tired of the same old. She wants, first of all, to know, can that newness, that freshness, that excitement after 17 years, can I infuse it back in the marriage? I asked her, what's her definition of spark? And she said, dressing for him, wanting to be tip top, wanting to look good around the house, not schlumpy and messy all the time. She said, I just had that motivation. Now I don't care. I don't have that motivation. I always wanted to show him how much I loved him. I don't have that anymore. I don't care about the cleanliness. And the truth is, I really want to get back to that. I wished it was that person again. And that he should also have that appreciation for everything that I do for him. And so I asked her, I said, Abigail, tell me, when did that fade? And she said, in the last few years, when I got busy with the kids. He also had an illness, and so maybe it was since then, but she said it just kind of like one day she woke up and she realized that for a while now, the spark is missing. And the last thing she said, I want to change for both of us. I want more appreciation from him, and I want more motivation from me. Okay, that is my conversation with Abigail. Abigail, welcome everybody. Abigail, welcome to the show. She's on a speakerphone from somewhere on the planet. Abigail, did you have any points you wanted to add to what I said?
No, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay, good. I got it pretty good. Okay, fine. Well, you're a good explainer. You explain. So now, what I want to ask you, do you, like the rest of us, thank you, do you blame your husband for your life not looking the way you wished your life looked?
It could be.
It could be. Okay. What does it could be mean? It could be mean yes or no.
Leah, they're saying that on Instagram that's a little hard to hear her, Abigail. So hopefully we can just,
Scott, can you fix that? Where'd Scott go?
Yeah,
everyone's disappearing today. This is a weird day.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's working on it.
Okay, fine. Okay, he's working on that.
Like, when she speaks, you may have to repeat her.
Okay, so I'll repeat what she says. Okay, fine. So she said that when I asked her, do you blame your husband for your life not looking the way you want it to? And she said it could be, which I'm going to take as in probably yes, but I don't want to admit it. I don't know. Is that what it could be means?
You're right.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Good. She said you're right. Okay, so here's the thing. Do you, so here's the thing. I'm not quite sure what, the motive. It's like when the spark is gone, I didn't sense in our conversation, we had a pretty deep conversation, a couple of them actually, that you blame your husband for the spark being gone, which I thought was actually pretty good. I think a lot of women go right to, he's not romantic enough, he says mean things, or he doesn't apologize well, I can't forgive him for this, that, and the other thing, whatever. So there's this whole feeling, a sense of a blame that the spark's not there, that it's the husband's fault. And I don't know if you realize this, Abigail, but you were remarkable in that you were like, I want to take responsibility for this and I want to bring that spark back. There was no blame in your voice. And I'm wondering, maybe you can share with us how you came to that place. Because I think 99% of women would go right to, it's his fault. So how did you explain your thought process, or how you came up to be so awesome?
You know what? I have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay, you have no, but you should. Okay, so you have no idea, but I just want to pat you on the back for that, because I think a lot of times we pick ourselves apart of what we did wrong and why we're bad and wrong and how we should have done this, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And you did something great. You didn't even know it. You didn't even know how you got there. But we should all take a lesson.
I
from
think
that.
Hashem just put it in my head.
Hashem put it in your head. It's good. Very nice answer.
I think, Leah, it's so amazing that she's, meaning like I automatically would say my husband's not doing enough and he's not being romantic enough and he's not helping me enough. And the spark is gone because he's not, doing what he's supposed to do as a man. And the fact that she didn't do that, I would never like blame myself. So that's, yeah, that's huge, it's huge. To be able to do that.
It's huge. And the lesson we can all take from that, in terms of myself included, I mean, all of us, is that when you blame your husband and say he's like that and that's why it's not the way it's kind of like you're almost left powerless, because like if it's his fault, all you can do is nag him, which never works. Okay, always backfires. In fact, it's whenever you are nagging, it usually ends up worse in the long run than if you didn't say anything. But we have a show called How to Nag, so go watch that if you want to learn how to get things done without having to nag, because nagging doesn't work. Okay, but if the secret here, the take-home message that we can understand is that once we say, okay, I'm going to bring the spark back, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take the bull by the horns and make this fly, it gives us power. It's like suddenly, okay, what are the strategies? And that's what we're going to go through in the show today. Stay tuned. We've got a lot. I got boom, boom, boom. So many notes here. We're going to go. Okay, fine. So we understand.
Thank you. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, good. It's great. Okay, so I want to start. Do we have any Instagram? Do we have questions coming in, Sarit?
No, right now people are just basically, they're like interested to hear what exactly is going to be the next part that you're going to be giving over.
Okay, fine. Okay, so here's the thing. To understand spark, thank God, we have a Masorah, a tradition brought down from 3,000 years, okay, from Har Sinai. We have a tradition that is gorgeous, that understands, that teaches us how to create that, how that spark was created and how to maintain that spark. And here's the most awe-inspiring, exciting news that I have for you. Whatever spark you remember from when you first got married and you're engaged and he was bringing you flowers or whatever else, whatever, right? Whatever that was only a tiny fraction of the spark and joy and excitement and happiness that is available to you right now, today. That's for anybody who's been married for over a week, a month, a year. If you've been married 17 years, that means you have 17,000 times more spark joy than was available to you when you first got married. I'm going to explain exactly how to get there. But I just want you to know there is a giant rainbow at the end of this pot, or giant pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. Okay, I'll get my metaphors confused. Yeah. All right.
By the way, Leah, just to say, somebody on Instagram actually wrote in, maybe the spark wasn't there before. So I think, right, she said very much that she did feel the spark before. This isn't like there.
So when you first got married, that's a great question. Thank you for sending that question. It's great. Abigail, at the beginning of your marriage, you had a spark, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay. And also she had said, oh, when he came home, I was excited. I wanted to cook for him. I wanted to clean. I wanted to iron for him. Okay.
Right.
So
okay.
We like you very much, Abigail. We're very inspired for you, but we do think you're nuts. You love to iron for him. Whatever. No,
and Leah, lots and lots of hearts. And Jillian Gila Barrera from Turning Time Livestream says, shalom.
Shalom. Thank you. Hi. It's great to have you here. Awesome. Okay. So here's the thing. The potential for spark right now, and I'm calling spark in a general thing. A spark is a sense of closeness, a sense of excitement and joy, just what's a good it just ecstatic with being in the relationship. That is all completely available to you times 1,000 times from when you first got married. Let me explain to you how the giver taker learning curve works. This is from our Masorah. This is all sourced in Rev Dessler, Victor Miller, Rev Yerucham, who else? Rev Volbe. There's many sources, probably deeper than that, probably Kabbalist, above my pay grade. But anyway, I'm giving you the sources so you can look into them. What I'm about to give over to you is the most gorgeous information you could ever have for today, to use today to have a closer, more sparkly relationship in your marriage. And that is this. There is a giver-taker learning curve, I'm going to call it, okay? They use many other words for it. There's a simplify learning curve. So what happens, we are all born as takers. We have milk from our mother. We have food from, till we're grown or whatever. Almost everything we do, we're a taker. It's given to us. Maybe we have to set the table in order, but to eat, or we have chores or whatever. But basically, our whole gist in life is being a taker. And as we mature and as we grow and become more, have more mastery over ourselves and more mastery over life, we grow more and more into being a giver. And it's spotty. Our parents will say thank you. I'm like, yeah, whatever, write a thank you note. Your grandma sent you a check for $25 or $100 or whatever, write a thank you note. It's like pulling teeth to get a kid. Not my kids. My kids always did it instantly, right? But anyway, it's being grateful and being a giver and doing things for others comes very, very hard to a human being. We're designed that way. So it's a curve. It's a learning curve. We become, through parental guidance, through teacher guidance, through seeing what works in life, from watching role models, from watching other people be givers, and how inspiring it is to watch somebody give. We see somebody who we're at an event or something, and someone is got a sweat. There's 3 sweaters. Or 3, what are those pashmina scarves, and whatever, and someone sees another lady, an older lady, whatever, sitting there, they take off the scarf. There was a big war on the scarves. Everyone grabbed one, and she takes her scarf off and she gives it to somebody else, and we watch her in awe, and there's an elation, there's a joy, an inspiration, a being bigger than ourselves when we watch this and when we emulate that. So in this giver-taker relation learning curve, right? Our whole goal is, as we get older and older and older, to be bigger and bigger and more and greater givers, and to focus. It's not meaning we don't do self-care and all those great things. It just means we spend more of our time giving and less of our time taking. And it's hard. It's a hard vote. It's a hard work. It's a hard job. But it's where the source of so much joy in our lives is. So here's what happens. We're on this curve. And as a young woman, a young man, whatever, and we're on this curve, and suddenly we meet our beshert, our zivug, our soulmate, okay? And suddenly, what had been so hard when our mother said, please do the dishes, I'm like, "Arr!" And the teacher said, hand the homework on time, I'm like, "Arr!" Whatever we had to do suddenly becomes totally easy. Like, we've met this person, and all we want to do 24/7 is figure out more and more ways to give to them, more and more ways to do things for them, to make them happy, like whatever. Oh, I made cookies for you, and I this, and I ironed for you, I cooked for you. Whatever. We meet this person and we get overwhelmed with the desire. A natural desire clicks in to give. And here's what happens. We are giving seamlessly, effortlessly. I mean, we could stay up till 3 a.m. baking cookies for our fiance, our husband, our groom, somebody we're just about to marry. We can, it's endless amount of pouring out giving, and it makes us love them more. It makes us love ourselves more. We see that it's bringing out the best in us. We now see that we could give that pashmina scarf to even though we're freezing, to the person. Like the parts of us that are the greatest parts of ourselves are coming out and being shown. And we fall in love with our spouse, and we fall in love with ourselves and who we are in the picture. And it's gorgeous. And this, our sources tell us, is a complete gift from God to us. God does this to give us a bonding, to make it easy for us, to make us connect better, to make us love more. Rev Dessler gives over, when you give more, you love more. So loving follows in the direction of giving. So the more you give, the more you love, and the more connection is formed, and the more closeness is formed. So
Leah, somebody wants to just clarify, if you could just clarify. So does that mean that giving is what brings about the spark? Is that what you're saying?
She beat me to the punch. That's where we're heading here.
Okay,
and I'm going to tell you
That's
exactly how to do that. Excellent question. And you're getting me. It really feels awesome to be gotten, right? What's the word we couldn't say at the beginning of the show?
Exacerbated.
Exacerbated, right? That exacerbated my joy.
Yes.
Okay, whatever. Okay, so this is something God gives that as a gift. That's what we understand from our sources. As a gift, when you first meet your zivug, is this gift of this selflessness. You're not thinking about yourself as much as you're thinking about what I can do for the other person. And it's like we get a jump start on the giver taker learning curve. So we have to understand that a great deal of the elation and the joy and the magic is that we ourselves are transforming into that person we've always wanted to be, which is more of a giver. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. And everyone said, they say, well, somebody who's in love with somebody, whatever, they're in love with life. That's what a giver is. That's what a giver is. Okay, let's go on to the next one. And there's always a but, right? There's always a, oh, that sounds great. Too good to be true.
Leah, by the way, Steffi Taylor from Facebook said, be grateful, be a giver, and be a role model to help and reach out. She says, this is real talk.
Real
she
talk.
Loves it. Yeah, real talk.
It's true. And not only that, we're going to show you in a minute, practical, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to rattle through a lot of things you can do to be a giver, how that works, whatever. So stay tuned for that. But I just want you to emphasize what she said is the fact that creating yourself to be a giver, you already are a giver. Many of us have spent our lifetime working on being a giver. And sometimes it's hard. You have to put somebody else in front of you. And it's like, right when you sat down to do that nice, relaxing thing you wanted to do, you get another kid who's having an argument with a kid, or your phone call or whatever. It's like you're constantly interrupted from doing what you want to do. To be a giver. And this is where the closeness with other people comes. Okay, but now I want to talk about what happens. So you have this, big gift from God. He gives you this connection, this desire to give, this passion to give, and this closeness to the person you're going to marry, what we're calling spark, right, Abigail? That's what she said. I want the spark back. So what happens at that point is it's almost like as soon as you see that he has faults, right? He leaves his socks on the floor. He, doesn't bust his dishes. He doesn't help cook. He doesn't do, whatever all the things. He doesn't listen to you when you talk. He's playing on his phone. When you start to see that he's a human being, the illusion and the fantasy of who you thought he was and what you thought you were in fades. And here's where I believe it's Revolbi says, the moment that demands begin, joy departs. So rather than you're being so grateful that your new husband took out the trash, now he didn't take it out, and you're like, your demand, why didn't you do the trash? Why, and you begin to focus on, I don't want to say taking, but you focus on his faults and focus on his foibles and focus on the things he didn't do right. And your desire to give, your natural desire to give, wanes, and the taker, which we're all born as, starts to take over and creep in. And it's kind of like the sages say that we're given a huge amount of giving at the beginning of a relationship, And then that begins to fade. And then from then on out, for the rest of our marriage, that closeness, instead of being gifted to us from God, that closeness must be earned. Here's the issue with that. It sounds like, oh gosh, no way. I don't want to do, right? I don't want to earn it. Here's the thing. Earned is so much sweeter. I don't know if anybody here has had the experience of like working for the summer as a teenager to buy your first computer or buy your first phone or buy your, an outfit or something like that. When your parents gave you clothes and said, here, buy that. Oh yeah, buy that. You wore the clothes. When you earned it and you worked for it and you wore the clothes, there's a sense of pride. And we know this from our sources that when something's handed to you, it doesn't have the same invigorating sense and self-confidence as when you earn something. So for the rest of our lives, your life, my life, all of our lives, earning that closeness is what makes it as precious to us as anything. The stuff that was gifted, it's a lovely spark to look back on. It doesn't hold a candle to the closeness and the spark that's available when we've earned it. Now I'm going to teach you how to earn it. Okay, any questions coming in?
No, people were just saying on Instagram, they're like, just by doing good deeds is what's going to bring the spark. I'm like, Leah's giving us the action plan.
I'm giving you an action
plan. I'm happy you're ready for that.
Okay, Fed, get ready. Stay tuned. Hold on. Abigail, did you have any questions before I carry on? I'm going to give you how to get that spark back. But before I do, I just want to see if you have any questions.
No questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you, she said. Okay, fine. Okay. So the only way to maintain that spark is that deep feeling of closeness is to earn and work at being a giver every single day. This is how you get the spark back. Number one, the secret to keeping that spark, to getting that spark or creating this new deeper spark is to work on being a giver, to do more for our spouse, to work harder at making them happy. I'm going to go through examples in a minute. To show appreciation for who they are and what they do for us, to think of creative ways to give to them, say nice things to them, compliment them, take care of them. The bad news is the daily challenge. The good news, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. You will try this today and you're like, oh my goodness, it's so awesome. It so works. So let me see. Yeah. Oh, good. Want to say this. Whenever you are feeling, Abigail, listen up. Whenever you are feeling bored, unenthusiastic, your husband's coming home and you don't have that butterfly in your stomach feeling of excitement. The answer is think of something you can give to them. Think of maybe you can greet them at the door. That's such a gift of kindness. Maybe you can text them and say, can't wait till you get home. That gift, that giving. Maybe you'll think of a food like, boy, I usually make, ice cream for Shabbos, or I usually make Jello, whatever is simple, for Shabbos or whatever. I'm going to make it it's Tuesday night. I'm making it tonight. Think of something you can give to your husband. If you are in the doldrums in your relationship, think of what you can give, act on it. It's a game changer. It's guaranteed. It's a game changer to bring that spark back. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, let me go right in now. I'm going to start giving you some solutions, and I want a lot of questions on these solutions because they're this is the practical part of the show. We can actually have a dun 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 dun. Well, I take that. Oh, okay. Don't you like how the mug matches the sign in the back? Every time I lift the mug, I'm like, that looks so awesome together.
You're like, this is great marketing.
It's great.
Who came up with this idea?
But do you want to know what Elle Miller, who designed this? She's like this fabulous designer, or whatever. She read Marriage Secrets. Oh, she probably would mind.
Hello, everyone should be reading Marriage Secrets. Everyone should proudly say, I'm a Marriage Secrets reader.
There you go. She read this and she called me up and she said, listen, I'm a designer. What can I do for you? I mean, she didn't charge me.
Yeah.
What a gift. What a gift. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's see how cute it looks together. Anyway, okay, fine. Okay. Most of us are familiar with a wish list, right? Anyone who's on Amazon has the little wish list. Like you want something and it's like $34. That's such a waste of money. Oh, I'll put it in my wish list, right? So you put in your wish list or your save for laters, right? How big are your save for laters? Type it in. Let me hear how many things on your save for laters. Okay. So most of us are familiar with a wish list, a birthday list. Well, now what we want to do is we want to have a give list. So right now, wherever you are, grab a pen and a piece of paper or type it into your computer, type it into your phone. We're going to make a give list on things you're going to give to your husband, because the more you give to him, the closer you're going to be, the more that spark is going to be there and the happier you're going to be. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. This is like that works. Okay. Type me a little note and say, Leah, I tried that giving thing. I like it. It's different. My husband's different. I'm different. This is awesome. Okay. I tried to make it easy. Like I had so many things on the list that I wanted to make it so that it was easy to remember. So I made it give back, B-A-C-K. Okay, give back. So B is, each one has a letter. B is break the routine. A is, and I'm going to go through these. Okay. A is appreciation. C is compliments. And K, B-A-C-K, that's how you spell back, right? Hello. Okay, back is keep connecting. Okay, I should do my fingers differently. So back, give back, break the routine, appreciation, compliments, and keep connecting. Okay, so let's start with B. This means, so when you're in the heat of the moment, it's you can't like run, oh, hold on a minute, dear, and then you run into your notebook and flip through the pages. No, if you can remember back, B-A-C-K, you'll jog your memory to remember what the categories are and pick one thing from that category in the moment. Okay. Give the gift of breaking the routine. So the spark is, people say, oh, you need to take up a new hobby. And that could be true, but what's the source of taking up a new hobby? It's breaking the routine. And that is a gift that you're giving your husband. Okay, so let's go through them. First of all, in your journal, notebook, whatever, on your phone, start writing down, creating a list of activities that would be fun to do. Obviously, going to Target or going to, shopping or going to the McCullough, whatever, doing that as a activity isn't going to be, I mean, maybe that's a thrill for you guys and maybe that is, but I would think of things more like, going to, it doesn't have to cost money. Okay. Going to on a picnic, going for a hike, going for a walk. And maybe it's kind of like annoying to you, but if you get a backpack and you made some cute little snacks, whatever for it, a picnic can be very enjoyable. I mean, and if that means that you get a babysitter meanwhile, if you can't afford a babysitter, you go to a friend and you say, look, can you watch my kids for a few hours this week? And next week, I'll watch your kids for a few hours. So these things don't have to take money, but even going to a museum, they have free days. A lot of the museums have days you can just walk in or whatever. Some of them may not be modest or whatever. So you have to pick your museum well, but a museum of airplanes or something like that, is perfect. There's many, many things. You have to use your own judgment, ask your own local Orthodox rabbi, but there are certain, or clergymen, there are certain things that you can do like that are free. You can look in free listings, type in to Google or something. If you have internet, type in free things to do around whatever city you live in. So make a list of those things, kind of like a bucket list of fun, stupid things. A lot of them will bomb. They won't be great, but that's not the point. By putting something new and doing something new, even if it's not your ideal, like it could be go to a baseball game. You're like, OMG, like this is not going to be fun, but put those types of things. When you have a list, it should weigh a little bit more things he'll like. And after you've done a few of those, then you can do things more like go to the hobby store, maybe that you'd want to do more, so you have to weigh it up, but start the point is start a list. What are you going to give to him? What are you going to do to break the routine? Okay. Even if it's not your first choice, you're doing this for a purpose, which is adding excitement. It's not so that you can have a great time for that one afternoon. No, you're building something much more long-term, much more important in the relationship. So even if it means you're doing something for 3 hours or 5 hours that you're not really thrilled about, you're building that spark. Okay, find hobbyish kind of things to do at home. There's lots of books on different subjects, different topics, different hobbies. You can Google it. Classes or shirim for couples that you can go to, create mini adventures. So it could be as simple as sparking up, Abigail, if you went to the bookstore and got a new cookbook or looked up new recipes or whatever, and just started infusing new things. If you have never made homemade pizza, start making, or at least try it. Try homemade pizza, try homemade pasta. You know what homemade pasta is? Flour and eggs, maybe a little salt, and you mix it together, and then you roll it flat and slice it. Hello, fresh pasta. Try something different, new, creative. If you're not into cooking, you can figure out other things. Maybe you've never made Chinese food. Look stuff up. Try and infuse and break the monotony with new cooking. Think back to things you used to do together when you first got married that you enjoyed, whatever, and start incorporating them back. Maybe it's just one time. Maybe it's you guys used a certain place by the ocean, or used to go to a certain restaurant or whatever. Well, in COVID, nobody's going to a restaurant. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. But you try and find things that you used to do that used to be your special things, and incorporate one or two of them. Little surprises can be wonderful if your husband likes surprises. Some people are really into surprises and love them, and some people hate them. So you have to know your husband. But if your husband does like surprises and you've done a few surprises, add a few more in. It could be as simple as, on a weekday, having blueberries and whipped cream for dessert. I'm just making stuff up, but start making a list of different things you can do. A lot of our problem is that we get stuck in our routine, and then we can't. There's two things. There's thinking about giving, and there's actually giving. And without the thinking first, the giving, has a much lower chance of happening. So by thinking about what you can do, anybody, before your husband's birthday, maybe he's not into gifts, but many people are, you'll get him something, right? Think, his birthday's next month. You're thinking about it. You're planning. It can't be that morning you wake up and say, oh, I've got to get a present. No, you plan ahead. And that's what gives it that sweetness. So plan ahead. Okay. Are you flagging me? Did you have a question?
Somebody was asking, and I guess the way to think, but someone's asking, all these things are so amazing, but what happens if you have like little kids and even a baby? I know she said a baby, that she's taking care of the baby. Then you're just so like overwhelmed with all the other stuff that
Right. Okay. A brilliant question. You're absolutely right. It's like, really, Leah, you're giving me one more thing to do. I get it. Okay. But here's the thing. If you took 5 or 10 minutes and just made a list and kind of parked it in the backside, because, in the background or whatever, because you've got so much else going on in your life, what will happen is, let's say on your list, you something like give him a special treat in midweek. So now you're all overwhelmed with the kids and running the household or whatever. And you think back that you wrote that on your notebook, and it's a Thursday night, and you go and you pull out after dinner, you pull out the frozen ice cream and give him his favorite, 1 scoop of his favorite, or 2 scoops or 3 scoops of his favorite ice cream. That gift, that giving to him, sort of out of the blue, it's not, ordinarily you wouldn't do such a thing. It came to you because you wrote it down on your list. You gave some thought to it. So it's not like you're actually doing 4 hours more of stuff. It's just jogging your memory that is where your effort, that any effort you put into giving to your husband is going to come back to you a millionfold, and it's going to bring that spark back. So I hope that answered it. Okay.
Yeah. And then they just want to know, does it have to be actual gifts or stuff, or can it just be a good comment?
Okay, good. Yeah, we're doing back. The first one is break the routine, and then we're going to get to appreciation, and that will answer that. Okay, good. Good going. Okay, so we're talking about surprises. So make sure your husband likes surprises. If he does, just little surprises, big surprises. It doesn't have to be a whole planned out thing. Even a little Post-it note on his dashboard, so when he gets in his car, it says a little heart or a little "I love you" or something like that. Okay, these are.
And by the way, someone in Instagram said, "I used to not like surprises, but I love them now. It's so neat." So I guess everyone can, you know.
It's so needed, she said.
Yeah, it's so needed.
Yeah, just little things. By the way, expecting your husband to give surprises, that's a little iffy of a thing, because guys don't think about that. They're busy doing things or whatever. I mean, with some exceptions, but most men, women are we have a whole many classes. You can watch them on Torah anytime or on our website, www.ladiestalkshow.com. On getting the appreciation we need. So that would be what I would do for that, is get more soliciting it, because your husband's not going to do surprises for you unless you say, my birthday's coming up next month. I wonder what you're going to do, like that. Then you might get a surprise. But men generally have to be steered down and led, and you did not get a broken husband from the factory. Okay. That's how most men are. So you don't have to feel badly that he's not doing a little surprise for you. You can do a little surprise for him. Maybe that'll wake up some latent sense of him doing surprises for you. But for the most part, those have to be coaxed out of a husband.
So I'm sorry. Somebody asked, does it matter if your husband, that's not your husband's love language, meaning giving them little things is not their thing?
Yeah. So great question. Focus your giving onto what their love language is, and you know what that is. And if you don't, you can ask them, or you can work harder to figure it out. But I would definitely do that. So I'm going to give a list, and a lot of these things will fit somebody's love language. So make a list of the things are going to work in your marriage. Okay. Little date night, even if they're cheap, setting up a date night and saying, we're going out next Wednesday. I'm not telling you what we're doing. Wear something casual, and then take them on a picnic, little things like that. Little bits of adventure you think in a way that you think they'd like. Step outside your comfort zone. Take them to Home Depot and build a deck chair together, or get little boxes for your kids or something and build them together, or paint them together, something like that. Something out of your comfort zone that maybe they're going to roll their eyes and say, really, I don't want to paint. No, really, I'm going to get all icky. Whatever it is, buy gloves, white gloves, whatever, if they're not that type. But the point is, do something that's out of your comfort zone that you think they would like. Studies show that adrenaline increases affection. So that means, some of the things on your list, just if you want more attraction from the adrenaline, is to maybe whitewater rafting, maybe bungee jumping, parachuting. No, joking. But, something that is a little bit outside of what you do that you would consider an adventure. And you can type in adventure near me, and it'll say, oh, go ride llamas in the desert, or whatever, who knows? These are things you can do to give your husband the gift of breaking the routine. Okay. Oh, volunteering for charity. I had that written down too. So that's another thing, like there's couples who once a week they go and they pack food for poor people. That's a wonderful romantic thing to do with your husband. You feel great about yourselves. It's very busy work, doing and folding and putting them in boxes and taping them up, and maybe you're delivering them together, something like that. Try and find things out of the routine that'll break the routine. Okay, so we have give back, break the routine. A is appreciation. So sometimes it feels like when you need that spark in your marriage, it's a sign that you are taking too much for granted, right? Appreciation doesn't start with your mouth. Appreciation starts with welling up inside of you to feel that appreciation, and then saying it just comes out naturally. So if it's hard for you and you don't feel appreciated and you're so annoyed, he doesn't appreciate me. You're telling me, Leah, now I got to start appreciating him. Okay. One of the best way to get appreciated by him is appreciating him in the first place. That's another story. And it's not one for one, meaning you can appreciate him a lot more and he still only gives you half as much back. It's still good. All right. But many people are very, very aggravated. They don't get enough appreciation, and they can't well up that ability to appreciate their husband so here's the way around that. On that same notebook or wherever you're taking notes, make a list of things you appreciate about your husband. Our minds are so wired to point out what doesn't work and to criticize and notice what they aren't doing and where they need to improve. And we're not wired to appreciate all that they do for us and them just being there. There are people whose husbands died or they got divorced or they haven't found their husband yet, and he's there and he loves us. He loves you, you know. Maybe sometimes you don't feel it, whatever, but he's there. He's present, and just Dainu. That's so much. So again, rather than focusing on what he does wrong and what his faults are, by focusing on things you appreciate about him and actually writing them down. Really, if you can't conjure that deep feeling inside of gratitude and appreciation for him being alive and being yours, write it down. Even if you can write it down, because you'll think of more things. And the more appreciation you show your husband, the more you give him the gift of appreciation, being a giver, again, not a taker. You're giving and you're showing appreciation. The more he's going to love you, the closer you're going to be, and the more spark there's going to be in your marriage. It's an attitude shift, and you have the key to that. There's nothing your husband can do to change your view of him. I mean, well, he can have better behavior and do exactly what you want. You're still going to pick him apart. That's in wife's nature. Okay, that's how we are born. If we're getting a question, what? You're on mute. No going on mute. Are the workers still in the background?
No, it wasn't the workers. I was like trying to hit it and it wasn't working.
All right, okay.
No, somebody is saying that, but when they get an adrenaline, they usually get like a down afterwards. Like, for example, they'll go somewhere where it's exciting and everything's moving around and they're like all full of adrenaline, and then they'll feel like so low afterwards. So is that something that would be, I don't even know how you would explain it. Or
yeah, that's a great question. And here's the thing. It's kind of like, moodiness, and women are queens of moodiness or whatever, but you still benefited from it. You still had that adrenaline rush with your husband. You had that excitement. Then you're kind of driving home in the car on the way home after whitewater rafting, and kind of, but the closeness is there. The closeness is already created. So okay. So your mood might go down. That's okay. That's okay. You know.
Right, but it depends. I actually find, I don't know, maybe it's that's why I was a little bit like, the question was for me, I couldn't relate so much to it, because I actually find that when we like do something like whatever, I'm like on a high for like the week. So I don't think the downer comes, but there is someone who's asking, what happens if doing stuff with your husband actually causes you, like stuff like you said, charity or building something, actually ends up causing more stress, or that while you're doing it, you're not really talking to each other because you're both so busy with whatever you're doing, you're not really talking. Do you have to talk in order for there to be that?
Brilliant. Very good question. So about the talking, no, you don't have to. Talking can come and go. Sometimes people ride in the car and they're just quiet and they're just watching out the scene and they're like, oh, something's wrong with their marriage. It's dull. It's whatever. No, this is serenity. We're so addicted to flashing. We're moving our phone like this, and so we've lost the ability, really, myself included, to just be together. And so just if you're sitting there and you're hammering nails or you're painting or whatever, and there's this quiet lull, it's building closeness just by being together and doing something together. So that is for sure, 1,000%. If you were sitting there and you were painting and you said, last week it upset me when you did this, and and you talk it out and you come back to harmony with it, not really so appropriate. What do you do? So, maybe if you're talking about, oh, the kid did this or the kid did, maybe it's better to get the duct tape. Where's my duct tape? Hold on. There, we got the duct tape. Maybe it's better just in quiet to do it. So that's the answer to that question. What was the other one? You got the sweetest smile. Sir.
No, that part. Just that they want to just clarify that when they do things with their husband.
No, and then you said the annoying part. No, I want to cover the annoying.
Oh, yeah. They get annoyed.
Right. They get annoyed. So I hear that. That's not as easy a fix as being okay with silence. Oh, that might take more work.
Well, that's why they maybe shouldn't be building like chairs at Home Depot.
No, I hear that, except for the fact that there's some there. I'm going to tell you a skill. It's easier to. I can explain it to you. It's a little bit hard to get to that place, but it's definitely worth working to that place. And I don't know if I'm there every time. I'm for sure not there every time, but is that if you have a let's say you're doing something, you're just something pops in my head. You're doing beading, right? Because we did this with the kids. And, sometimes, not my husband actually, but whatever. No, let me think. What would a guy, my brain has gone flat, but let's say you're building, let's just use that. You're building deck chair for the backyard, and you go to Home Depot and whatever, and he bought the silver nails when the bronze ones would have looked better on that orange of the wood, and he, whatever, and then he got a stain that's kind of, reddish, and you wanted it more brownish, and it's not going, and you're just annoyed at almost everything he's doing and how he's doing it, and he bought the wrong hammer, and whatever. Or then you're in the backyard doing it, or in the garage, or wherever you are building this thing, and is to understand it's about closeness, not about the chair. It's about closeness. And in fact, in any way, shape of in your entire life, if you can keep the focus on it's about closeness, a lot of the stuff you wouldn't sweat. Like, it's kind of like in 5 hours, 5 years, 5 minutes, am I going to care about that? Like, it really isn't the end all be all and end all. If you're going to be annoyed every time you look at the chair, it's got the stupid silver nails instead of the rest, and say, can we buy both and try them? Or, you try and do it with a soft manner, not being so committed to the end result. It's a very, very good question. So try and keeping your focus on closeness will help during that, but it does not mean that you're you're excused from trying to do things together to bring closeness, to bring back that spark. This is try this at home. It's, do the best you can. Try it, you might fail, and then you can talk about it and say, I really wanted to build this deck chair with you because I wanted to get close to you and have a fun project together. I didn't really treat you so well during it, or I felt like you were a little harsh with me when you were wanting to do everything your way. I think we kind of didn't do that so great. It was the intent was good, but maybe let's go and try and build a deck bench and try again, something like that. Again, this is works in progress, but the goal always is to keep more closeness. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Let me just see. Okay, so the base thing about appreciation is show more appreciation, whether he does or not. Need to change your attitude. You hold the key to the spark, and this appreciation is going to be a game changer for you. If you show more appreciation, he'll also eventually show more appreciation. Just that's a natural thing. It won't be one-to-one. Meaning your effort, you'll probably have to always put more effort in, just the way it is, just saying. If you show interest in his activities, it's more likely he'll show interest in you and in your activities. Take time to listen to your partners, your husband. Many husbands complain their wives never ask about their day, but only complain about their own day. Ask about his day. This is a part of giving. Be that giving wife who gives and gives and gives, who's attentive, who cares. It will make your husband happier and you'll be happier. Okay, let's go on to C. So again, we're giving back. B is break the routine. A is appreciation. C, and we only have 7 more minutes. Abigail has to walk out the door in 7 minutes. So we got to go through these last 2 quickly. The compliments. Okay, so give compliments. It's extremely hard to give compliments if you aren't complimented enough, right? It's very, very hard, because you're like, what? Like, really, Leah? Like, why should I? He never compliments me. You want me to compliment him? Like, give me a break. This is in the too hard basket. So here's the thing. Compliments are this magical panacea on a relationship. It's like you compliment whatever is going on in the relationship. You're angry, you're upset, he's distant, he's far away, he just said something mean, the kids are crazy, whatever. If you put a compliment in your mouth and say it, it's magic. It's like, oh, really? You like the way I closed the front door? Oh, thank you. Whatever. Yeah, I'm making so silly.
You like the way I closed the
whatever. I bring out examples. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. It doesn't matter the compliment. It's very funny. My mother-in-law taught me something, and I said, that person did the thing. I wanted to tell them how nice it is, but I'm afraid that they're going to think that I'm trying to get something from them, and that I'm going to, that I'm manipulating, or the only reason I'm saying is because this and that and the other. So I'm not going to say it. My mother-in-law taught me this amazing thing. Nobody ever questions a compliment too much. It's like, if you tell someone they look beautiful, they're not, oh yeah, she's trying to butter me up. Well, maybe they think that, but there's a deep part of them that just gets it. You don't have to worry too much. You don't have to is it real? Is it truth? Is it the exact thing? Okay, he looks great today. Well, actually his hair is messed up and he's got the wrong shoe. Those shoes are 100 years old, but whatever. It's still telling me he looks good. A man, a woman thinks oh, he should tell me I look good. He never tells me. There's no woman who, if I took a poll of 10 billion women and said, does your husband tell you look good enough? They'd be like, oh, never. Someone whatever. Nobody hears it enough. Same thing with a man. A man needs to hear it. You look great today. I like the shirt you're wearing. Boy, you look terrific today. Those compliments, they don't tire of it. And they're not going to think too deeply about it. Okay. Here's the thing. So being the one to start the compliments, again, as I said, is hard, but you'll see that if you start, there's a closeness that develops from compliments that is not available in any other way. If that's the only thing you learn from this whole show is to compliment more, your closeness is about to get through the roof. You'll see. This is like guaranteed. This is from our Chazal, our sources tell us how powerful compliments are.
Leah's compliments different than thank you, meaning they have to be saying like, oh, you look so handsome, or they could say, oh, thank you so much for responding when I called you. Like, is that considered?
Yeah. I guess there's a blur that
because compliments are like sometimes hard for people if it's not a part of their being. But like a lot of times, I say a lot of thank yous. Does that count as like I always feel like if I say to him, oh, I love your shirt or whatever, it always sounds like a little bit like I'm trying too hard. I know you just said it doesn't, so I will try it more.
It's a good question. So there's really two separate things, because a man needs appreciation for all that he does, right? And appreciation for who he is and everything. But a compliment strikes at a man's ego, at his sense of himself. A man's identity is determined by what his wife thinks of him. And if his wife says, oh, you're such an incredible person, you're so smart, that's a fantastic one. There's no man who wouldn't want to hear that 10 times a day. You're so smart. A man prides, that's part of his identity. That's who he thinks it is. It's superficial. He's really a spiritual being that is loving you and giving you. He's very deep. But the thing that resonates very deep to men is to call them smart. The handsome is also good, but smart and clever, and oh wow, that was so smart, you remembered to do that, and whatever. Compliments are different, and even if they sound genuine, it's just you're not used to it coming out of your mouth, and it's I can't explain it. It's more solid. It's showing appreciation. They do this and they do that, and you appreciate them. And it's like, oh, I've got to keep up. I've got to keep doing it to get that appreciation, which they will. Okay, but compliments are a little bit different. It's like a label that they don't have to do anything to earn those as much.
That's such a good distinction, because that's exactly it. A thank you is because I did something for you, and a compliment is just because. Like,
It's just throwing that you are grateful to have them in your life, and it's very powerful. And men really need it. It feels a lot more solid a compliment than an appreciation. Appreciation, like okay, you're just trying to get more out of me, whereas a compliment is they sit with that. And women, if your husband says you look awesome, you look just awesome, that the whole night you walk into the event and you just feel like $1 million, so compliments are very powerful. Okay, last one. Oh, we might lose Abigail. I don't know. Abigail, you still there? Oh, I think she's on mute. Or maybe we already lost her. Oh, we love you, Abigail. Sorry. Okay. The last one is.
Don't worry, I'm here.
Okay, you're there. Fantastic. Okay. If you need to call me back, okay, let me.
Can I do that?
Yeah. Why don't you do that so that it doesn't click off on you? Okay, call me right back. Okay, fine. I'll continue with the show, but hold on. Let me turn it off. Moon. Okay, I'm very technical. Look at that. Okay, so hold on. The phone's going to ring. Okay, so the last one is K. Keep connecting. So we have give back. Oh, that was really clever. I'm glad we thought you. Did I think of it? You thought whatever. So we thought of a great idea. Okay, good. You're there, Abigail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're only going to be another 3 minutes, but I'm glad you could stay on. Okay, so here's the thing about compliments. Don't let one day go by without getting a compliment. That's the new homework. Not one day with some kind of compliment. He says, why are you complimenting so much? And say, I took a class on appreciation. I realized how lucky I am to have you as a husband. He's not going to ask you too much. Okay. But whenever you're feeling distant from your husband, or you're feeling like you have a there's a lack of closeness or a lack of spark, give a compliment and watch miracles happen in the relationship. Okay. Last one is keep connecting. So holding hands, right? You're holding somebody's hands and it's a wonderful feeling. And then when you let go of the hand, you're not holding their hand anymore. There's like a distance that grows. Nobody holds hands in COVID, but anyhow, okay. But just think of it that way. In order to have that closeness, you need to keep holding the hand. I'm not talking about physical touch. Although that's there, but I'm just saying in a spiritual, mental, emotional sense, holding somebody's hand, closeness isn't something that you just create and then it's there and you're connected and that's it. No, it has to constantly be created daily, hourly, minutely. Connection is something, it's going through the effort of holding that hand. So how do you do that? So connecting often takes 3 minutes. Stop what you're doing when your husband walks in the door, just to say hello. Yeah, sometimes it's impossible, it's not safe, and then you yell, hey, I'm in the middle of getting the kids back. I'll be down in a second to say hi. Welcome home, Dolly, sweetheart, whatever you call your husband, okay, blah, blah, blah. Connecting takes 3 minutes. When your husband is on the phone, when you're on the talking to your husband, don't be on your cell phone. I know he's always on his when he talks to you. That's a different issue. That doesn't mean you're not obligated to be an awesome person, to him. The more you give to him, the closer you're going to be. And that's the goal. So even though it seems annoying at the time, it's going to make you guys closer. Text sweet little messages to him throughout the day, unless that's going to be annoying for him. Maybe just do one. You don't have to like every 5 minutes do something else. But again, you're keep connecting. This is the thing. When something annoying happens to him and he's really upset and whatever, and then he goes off to work or whatever, you can text him at 2 PM and say, hey, listen, I want you to know that I've been thinking about what happened to you this morning. I'm sorry. That was really annoying. Letting him know that you're with him and that you're connected to him. Also, it's a question of recognizing that relationships, when Abigail was talking, she wants that spark. Relationships wax and wane. That's also part of it. And our expectations are through the roof. We want always like that, everything has its time. If you're doing these back solutions, the giving back solutions, one at a time, it'll get closer and closer. So even when it wanes, it'll be doing it up here, instead of doing it down here. Okay. So the last couple of points with connecting, or rather than focusing on what your spouse needs to do, focus on what you can do to give to your spouse to make you closer. And if you're feeling distant or separated or not connecting or no spark, you can even ask your husband, and these are key words, you should write this down. What can I do in the moment? What can I do to make you happier right now? What can I do to make you happier? And your husband's gonna basically what you're asking is, what can I give you? What can I give to you? Right? This is precious, precious, both for you creating yourself to be the best person you can possibly be, but it's building a closeness and a bonding that is absolutely priceless. So, did you have any questions? And then I'm going to give the homework.
No, everything looks good. I would love, somebody's asking, how's Abigail dealing with all this?
Okay, fine. That's a great question. Abigail, how are you dealing with all this?
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you have any questions on it, comments on it? Do you feel like you can put some of this giving back material to use?
A lot of food for thought. Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of food for thought. I think there's a delay. Okay, fine. Okay, let me give you guys the exercise. The exercise is do one act of giving to your husband today. If you can, make a giving notebook and make a list of, like I said, of give, instead of a wish list, a give list. If you can do that, right, start it now. Otherwise, if you say, oh, I'll do it next week, it'll never happen. But if you start it, at least if you have 2 or 3 or 5 things on it, you can at least go back to it and work on it, because that give list is going to be the key to incorporating this into your life and getting that spark back that we all can get just by giving more. But the homework is to start by giving back one thing. Give one thing to your husband today. This is Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time.